Welcome back, everybody, to the Slim Flippers podcast. I am Wes, and I'm joined by a couple of our friends from the Frizzy'S finds. We have Johnny and Lizzy. Thank you guys for joining us this evening.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having us back.
Well, we appreciate you coming back for round two, actually round three, because we tried earlier and we failed miserably because my internet doesn't want to work with me.
Technical difficulties. It's okay.
We've had to move around, move studios, and all that good stuff. So how have you guys been?
Good, man. How about you?
Doing well. Finishing up 4 weeks of summer school that I've been involved in.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you if you were done for the year.
I will be tomorrow.
Nice.
But I signed up for 4 weeks of summer school, and that ends tomorrow. And in between all that, trying to thrift and do our thing. And we've actually been doing pretty well as far as some things that we've been finding at yard sales and garage sales and things like that. How have you all been doing out there?
Good. Really well.
Really good.
Mm-hmm.
And garage sales have been pretty rough.
Yeah, garage sales around here are not good.
Just kind of. Go ahead.
And we went to 301 last weekend too.
So that's the first thing I want to jump into is let's talk about the 301 because we did not get to go. We were hoping to, but kind of take us through the 301, where it is, what you do at the 301 sale.
Yeah, so 301 is a highway in North Carolina, and so it's eastern North Carolina, about an hour east of Raleigh. So more on the east side, but it's all 301, the highway, and it runs for, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 miles. And you just stay on the highway and you just ride it, and there'll be different parking lots where there'll just be tons of garage sales, or there weren't a ton of like people having like house garage sales. Yeah. It was a lot of like vendor booths set up, and really the professional flippers were out and about. Now,
speaking of professional, did you actually see Kevin out there on the trail?
Yeah, well, we didn't see him out, but I actually got to have dinner with him, so that was cool.
And how was that? That sounds like that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was Eric, the OBX picker, Mike Death Pile picker, and then Kevin's uncle Steve was there. So it was cool. It was nice. Being fairly new to this, you're just like a sponge and taking in everything these guys are talking about.
Right. So what were some things that you found over on the 301 that you?
Oh, you had a good find.
Yeah, so I found
pickup.
Yeah.
And it already sold.
Overall, the 301 was, you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much.
Makes me feel better.
Right? But we thought it was going to be amazing because the first garage sale that we went to, 7 a.m. Friday, Frizzy found a women's sweater that she's like, oh, this is good for $1. Like, this is great. And then I found, it's called a Digitrax, and it's like a train transformer piece. I have no idea what it is, but I looked it up and they sold for anywhere from 150 to 200 bucks. Wow. And the guy wanted 10 bucks for it. And I was like, all right. So popped it on eBay. It's already sold for 125 bucks untested. So 9 into 120.
Hey, take that all day long. That's not bad at all. So were you there both days, Friday and Saturday?
We were there all day Friday, and then Saturday we were there in the morning, but then we left and we went to because it wasn't great. Like, it just wasn't like, yeah, I was expecting it to be, my expectations were higher than it was, but we ended up going garage selling in Raleigh on Saturday.
So would it be fair to say that you were let down?
Yeah, for us, what we do, like, Lizzy does all women's clothing, and I'll do like some vintage toys and stuff like that, but it's a lot of like tools and just things that are not in our wheelhouse, that we could have very well have walked by some super valuable things, but because it's not our niche, like, you just had no idea. And when you're doing these yard sales, you're getting in the car, you're driving up the road, you're hopping out, you're driving up the road, you're hopping out, and you start doing that. And you do that like 10 or 12 times and you don't buy anything, and you get discouraged a little bit.
You're like, you know what? I'm tired.
And the prices were a little high too, because I think a lot of the booth vendors
they knew what they had.
Were flippers.
Yeah.
So like they had these really cool cast iron Michelin men, but they wanted 25 for them, and I think they only sold for 30. So
they're right on the price point of everything.
Yeah.
Like they're flippers in their own self. We have like a open area like that too at an old movie theater, drive-in movie theater, that every Saturday people show up. And my wife and I, because y'all met Melanie earlier, we wanted to stop there several times, but the one time that we went, we found a lot of those prices were, a lot higher. And it's almost like an estate sale type of deal, because you're going to find those higher prices, So I guess I'm kind of glad that I didn't make the trip.
Yeah.
If it was for me, it's a 6-hour drive, because I live near Knoxville. If it was a 2-hour trip, I probably would have made it.
And that's what it was for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got in the car at 5 a.m. and turned off the car at 7 a.m.
Got right to it. So
Yep.
Did you find, was your car full? Was your trunk full?
No,
we got that sweater, that train thing. I picked up maybe 5 or 6 vintage hats that were cool, just old trucker hats, but nothing, $12, $15 hats that I grabbed for $2 just because I like to buy hats. Right. And I picked up a bunch of a screwdriver set, but that was just because we needed it for the house. And that, I think, was it.
Yeah, that's it. Then when we went to Raleigh on Saturday, we hit up this garage sale, but everything was free. Like everything was free. She just said, whatever's out here, you take. I want it out. So it paid off, because we found then it filled up our car.
Get the door open, Johnny. Here we go. Start throwing it all in.
Well, she was like, people came early and bought all the good stuff, and we're like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, I have 44 PlayStation 2 games in my hand.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I was like, oh, all the good stuff's gone?
A set of golf clubs, a baseball bat, a Linux, or what is it?
Oh, Lionel train set.
Yeah. Well, you found some stuff. It wasn't all,
Sorry.
Knowing what you know now, though, would you do it again this weekend?
No.
That's fair. It's funny what you learn really quickly, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because you kind of need people to not know what they have a little bit, right? Or at least
be a little bit of ignorance there,
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to pick things if they said, "Oh." And let me give you a scenario. My wife and I went to it was like a garage set up, and it was for, the way the ladies told us when we walked up, this is for the animals. Didn't specify what animals, This is for the animals. And I said, okay, that's great. And we get in there, and I made the mistake. I should have asked, when you pick things up, what do you want? What are you asking on this? I saw a bunch of hats on, and they had like stains on them and stuff. I thought, well, I could wash those out. I can get all that.
Yeah.
I loaded up like 5 or 6 hats, and I get up there. I was thinking, and I have a thing with hats. I don't pay over $2, or I'll just leave it.
Yeah.
So I get up there, and she says it's $3 for each hat, and I said, these hats or those hats? Because she had some hats that were nice hats. I just got the ones that were stained and soiled and old. And she said, no, it's $3. I said, you won't do 2 on these? And she said, no. She goes, it's for the animals. Plus, I can sell those all day long at $3. I said, perfect. I just walked back over and just started laying them back there. So, to me, people people check things out more than you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She had another little girl that had some little thing from her quote it was her granddaughter's, and she was standing in line. It was like a big animal or something, stuffed animal. And she said, "Oh, I'm gonna cry when you take that out of here. That was my granddaughter's, and I'm sure gonna miss that." You know, the old granddaughter story.
Yeah.
Really, I asked her, I said, "Why you have it in the yard sale if it's so sentimental to you?" We're doing it for the animals. Okay. Everything's for the animals today. But the real kicker, this lady had, and my wife knows what it was, had something in her hand. She took it up there. It was the some ride on thing or something. Anyways, $12. The girl told her $12. Well, she spun around and I think she checked her phone. She checked her phone and whipped right back around. She goes, "No, actually that's 15."
Oh, okay.
She goes, "Excuse me, you just told me 12." Well, that's a finer piece. That's a finer piece. She said new, it was $58. And I kind of looked around the lady. I said, "Well, it's not new now. It's in a garage sale." So we didn't purchase that.
Yeah. Well, everybody's an expert now, right?
They are. Everybody is an expert. That's one thing I do not claim to be. I try to take a lot of it, just take it all in and enjoy the ride. Like you said, you learn stuff all the time.
Yeah.
At your dinner the other night, you were just trying to soak it in like a sponge.
Oh yeah, I mean it was just like masters, right? Just like masters at work talking. So I knew my role. And I
just like grab that piece of bread and just sitting there going, mm-hmm.
Well, he's like, asking me like, "Oh, how's YouTube going? How are your finds going?" And I'm like, "They're fine. They're okay. They're good. So, no, we're
good." Where's your sales at, Johnny? Where are you?
Yeah.
Well, see, Commonwealth is up here.
Yeah. I was like, well, we had 12 viewer sales yesterday for 750.
All right. Speaking of hats, I want to jump in. I think I want to ask you to do this again. Tell us about your big hat find and where you found all those hats. I think you said it was. I'm not sure what the number was, but you found a bunch of hats.
Yeah, it was all actually at the Goodwill bins.
Oh yeah.
We had went. Was it a Saturday morning?
Probably.
I think it was a Saturday morning. Our Goodwill bins opens at 10 a.m. So we had gotten there right at 10 a.m. and nobody was there. And we always walk over and kind of check the shoes first. At our Goodwill bins, the hats are mixed with the shoes. So we'll always check there. Plus, we're looking for shoes. And I like pick up 2 MLB fitted hats. And I'm like, good, nice, cool. And then I turn my head and I'm like, here's another one. And I pick that one up. There's another one underneath it. And just all of a sudden I'm going around and I'm like, this is amazing. And then I'm like, Lizzy, look for hats. There's hats in here. And so I think we ended up getting like 15 new era fitted hats.
Nice.
And our bins are $1.69 a pound. So what, 40 cents a piece.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Goodwill
nice.
bins just are the best. I can't get in. I'm sold. I'm sold.
You're sold on the bins?
I'm sold on the bins.
But you,
right.
like we talked in our last video, though, you're not that, or was not that enthralled with going into the bins. Didn't it give you some sort of anxiety or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's, what I do now? I put my AirPods in and I listen to a podcast.
Oh.
The whole time I'm there. So I just get in the zone.
Now she's a famous YouTube star, so she doesn't like to be bothered.
Oh. Well, I am tickled that you are. Thank you for gracing me with your presence. Hey, I'll ask you to do this again in another month, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that."
Yeah, I don't. We did that. No, I don't remember.
I just tell Wes we'll change the graphic when we're good. Well, I'm glad to hear Lizzy, that you're enjoying it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday at the bins, probably the best bins haul I've had ever. I found Louis Vuitton shoes, which the red bottoms. I don't know if you know.
Well, my wife just went as she's listening to our podcast.
But yeah, at the bins, I was like, what?
Wow.
So they're probably, I mean, they're retail well over like $1,500 retail. But like they probably resell for around $300 to $400.
And you will take that all day long.
All day long.
Hands out.
Yeah.
So, Johnny, I mean, I am feeling Nell like she is, risen.
Yeah. She doesn't pick up, $50, $60 items. It's unless it's $200, $300, $400, it's just not worth their time anymore.
Wow. The maturation process.
I told you last time I'm trying to get to that.
Oh, you're 100.
100K.
Yeah. Well, that was one of my things I wanted to talk about. How are you doing trying to achieve that 100K?
We're doing.
Huh?
It may also be 2024's goal.
Well, I mean, there's short-term goals.
No, I have made a recent goal within the past couple of weeks that I've been posting 20 items a day.
Oh, wow.
So that's me trying to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not there. But, Johnny, you're like me, you work and then you part-time it. So have you set the similar goal, or what are you trying to do with your post?
I'm supervising the 20 postings a day.
Hey, who knows though? Lizzy might not want you as her manager anymore.
This is true. This is true. I might not be committed enough for her to this.
She's gonna say, "Yeah, you're going to talk to my people." As a matter of fact, I'm not going to go to the bins anymore. I've got my people going out.
Yeah, right. That's a dream. I have sourcers for that.
That's beneath me. I'm going to the beach today. I'll see you. Me and my 200K a year.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is, you never know. Crazy things happen. But wow, that would be interesting. So other than who you already mentioned, was there anybody else out there on the 301 that you all had come across?
No, that was it. I know Dave was there, but he wasn't at the dinner, so we didn't get a chance to see him.
Dave, formerly known as
yeah. And then we had seen a couple other people that you just happened to follow on Instagram, but we didn't see anybody when we were there. You're literally like in the car, hopping out, going through. You're really kind of all in your own world when you're at those kind of things. Mm-hmm. This was the first time we had gone to anything like this. So a lot of it was just taking it in to see what the heck it was all about.
Well, John, you need to check her coattails and then hop on them, because
yeah.
Lizzy's going to take you everywhere now.
Watch out. How have things been going for you though? How are your sales going? How's your work?
Mine have been steady. Like I said, told you earlier, I've been doing some summer school.
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm in a regular school day for another month here. It ends tomorrow, so I should be hitting it pretty good here for the next 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah, mine have been steady. My wife's are much higher than mine. She works at it a lot. She's about 3/4 of the way in. That's where she's wanting to be, where Lizzy is, just eventually hang it up and go full all in. But she's on the right track. She's on the right path. She does a lot of sales. So I kind of laugh when I get one, because she does all the packing too and stuff, so or shipping. So she'll have like 18 items going out, and I'll bring my 2 in. Sorry, it's just salt shakers. That's all.
Because you guys have separate stores, right?
We do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told y'all hers was Cinderella and her fella, and mine's Slim Picker 47. Mine is what they call the common man's. But I guess I need to start looking at my goals a little different because, this is like my sixth or seventh video.
Mhm.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep going with these. I had told you all off camera. I'd talked to Flip the World, Chris, and our video. His audio turned out perfect. The video was fine, but you could not hear me. So we're gonna have to reshoot that one. So hopefully Chris will
Oh,
he will do that for me. But and I think I'll be talking to Prison to Profit again pretty soon.
Nice. Nice.
that's fun.
We're trying to get that worked out. Um, I wanted y'all to take us through a typical sourcing day for you all, like on the weekends. If you could just go through it kind of quick, just kind of tell us what you look at, where you want to go, what's your plan? Do you have a plan, or you just grab a cup of coffee and just wing it? What do you do?
So I use the app, what is it called? Treasure Map or Hunter or what is it called? There's an app.
For all the yard sales that you see in your
Yeah. Anyways, so there's an app that I use that lays out all the yard sales. So we like wake up and we're out the door at 7 to go hit up all the yard sales that are around us that look decent. And then we also hit up any of the ones that we see a sign for, we'll go. And then after that, around like 11-ish, we're typically done. And then we usually go to the bins.
Well, I mean, I wish we had bins around where I'm at. There's none in Knoxville, so to speak. Not the Goodwill bins anyway. There is in Chattanooga. But we're thinking about traipsing across the mountain and coming over into the North Carolina area. That's where you all are, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We're in Greensboro.
Okay, so what we need to do is set up a day. We come over there and I want to go to your all's Goodwill bins. You all take
They're
me in.
amazing.
Let's go after it.
We could meet up halfway and go to Asheville bins.
We can do that too.
There's some bins in
Y'all get over to
Asheville.
Asheville bins a lot or what?
No, I've never been.
Oh,
No,
I've never been, but
I went once. They're a little bit smaller than ours. But I mean, if you don't get any, it's good.
well, I think we should do that. We'll come
Mhm.
over across the mountain, come meet up with you all, and let's go.
I love it.
dig some treasure.
She's been dying to go because she
I mean,
hasn't since she hasn't been.
Think about it. What a great video that would be. We have the newly minted queen. She's gonna lead us into battle. That would be
Yes.
listen, that would be a funny video, man, if we can just put that together and get in that. So, all right, Lizzy, take us through this.
I just have to push her in a cart while she just waves that.
Everyone listen, my name is Lizzy.
And then everyone just throws their designer clothes that they find.
Right.
She just...
Yeah, they're all sourcing for her. Here, you'll want to sell this. You'll want that.
Well, one rule though is you can't wear gloves at the bins. You can't do it. No gloves.
Why not?
Because you gotta feel the fabrics and you gotta feel the quality.
Oh. Well, funny thing, I've been to the bins, the Goodwill bins about 6 or 7 times now in different areas. I've never wore gloves.
Good.
So if the queen says not to wear gloves, then don't wear gloves. So we were talking about Chris earlier, and he does, like y'all said, he does whatnot inside the bins and turns around and sells that stuff. Is that something you all have ever thought about doing?
I've thought about it, but our bins have terrible reception, so it wouldn't, like, my phone wouldn't work to do that. But it is a great idea.
Well, to talk to him, he's a very smart individual. He's a very entertaining individual. I don't know if you've seen one of his videos where he comes through the bins with the dinosaur on. Did you see that? He's wearing one of those Halloween outfits and he's going across. And people are just turning around looking at him. He's got something in the dinosaur. Man, you're crazy. But he said, resellers need a crazy person. I can be that crazy person. So
There you go.
Mhm.
he doesn't have a problem with it. So have you all, I'm going back to Whatnot again. Have you all been doing anything with Whatnot at all?
Yep, I'm still doing Whatnot. I do one, like at least one show a week, maybe two.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're
He
doing,
does hats.
yeah, we're doing what, maybe one a month, one hat show a month.
Mhm.
You know, like we talked about before, it just had slowed down quite a bit. So,
Mhm.
but she's still doing her show.
Yeah.
So
Well,
It's
you've
still
got to
steady.
do what?
It's still steady. Like it's still, I mean, an easy way to flip things quickly.
you just have to kind of keep your expectations in line a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And in what way? What do you mean?
We're just, you know, when she had first started and we had first started, we grew pretty quick and, you know, had a pretty big following on it. And the amount of money we were bringing in on our shows were probably almost double what they are now.
Yeah.
So I think some of it is just not fighting it, understanding where it's leveled out and, you know, what your expectations are. And we've just become a little bit smarter with what goes on Whatnot versus maybe before, you know, she might put higher end stuff on because she would get a lot of it back, where now it's like, no, that's a eBay Poshmark item, not a Whatnot item.
Mhm.
Well, and when I was talking with Chris the other night, he was talking about your price, your starting price points, where you start. Do you all do you have a set price where you start like $1, or do you fluctuate your prices
I
on?
always do $5 starts. Sorry.
Let's see.
There's Wilson.
There's Willie.
My cat. Muffin, huh?
He was laying nicely here the whole time.
Just wanted to make his appearance, right?
Yeah.
So yours is $5. You start
Mhm.
everything at 5.
Mhm.
And what is your time limits that you set?
What do you mean?
You do your 20-second auctions,
Oh, I
and then
do
your
20.
auctions last about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'm on for 45 minutes and I run about, I would say like 30 pieces. 45 minutes. Yeah.
And you do what do you say, Johnny? 20-second?
20 seconds.
She does 20 seconds, yeah.
Because now evidently they go all the way down to 5 seconds.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I've seen that. But then you don't get people bidding up as much, or they have to really. Well, I guess if you have it on like
Sudden death.
sudden death, it cuts it off. But then I guess it would add more time if you don't have it on sudden death.
Now, do you and the reason why I'm asking this stuff, because you know, again, I'm not on Whatnot, but do you have to provide a list to Whatnot or to the people, the buyers, so they can kind of go through it and see, or how does all that work?
So I load my store 24 hours before my show. So I'll have everything that I have in the show already listed in my show. And then people, the good thing about that, and at least for women's clothing, is people can go to it and pre-bid. They can pre-bid on items. So whenever I start my show, like half of the items have been pre-bid already, and then they just go up from there.
Right. Well, a couple more things. Do it. Go ahead.
I've tried doing shows where I just like pick from my bin, like pull and pick, and I mean these people still bid on it, but I didn't make as much as if my store was preloaded.
So like pull and pick things. So like you ask people, is there anything you want me to run? I've got this, I've got that.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
kind of what Chris does, like at the bins, because he can't. I mean, obviously, he doesn't know what he's gonna get. I would assume, so he can't load his store with everything. I
So
would
he,
think.
I mean, he literally, all right, guys, I got this glasses right here. Okay, let me go ahead and
Yeah.
run these. Okay, let's start them off at so and so. He just pulled them
Mhm.
up out of the bins, right?
Mhm.
That would be interesting to do.
Mhm.
That would be interesting to do. Couple other things, and I'll let you get back to your evening. Again, I appreciate you all joining us here on the Slim Flippers after our technical difficulties. have you been to any more estate sales here in the last several weeks?
Yeah.
We went to a few last weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just like, for us, it depends on who's running the estate sale. You know, some of the local estate sale companies, I mean, they just jack up their prices so high. We were in one on Sunday.
Yeah, because Sunday's always half off day here.
Sunday's half off day, but the prices were like normal. So you're like, you know, that they like jack up their prices. So when they cut it in half, they're really getting what they ultimately wanted to get for it.
Right.
So it's just, some of them are like that. But then we went to a mom and pop one where she got a designer sweater for 75 cents.
Yeah.
And what were the Chanel boxes?
Chanel boxes. They were like $9 for $5.
So they
Yeah.
So a lot of it just depends on like who's running the estate sale.
Well, and that's the thing, you don't really know when you pull up, but you know, sometimes they got their signs out there. But when you do get the ones where it's like family running, it tends to be a lot cheaper. We got into one 2 weekends ago, and it was on Sunday, and everything was half off. And what they had done, I saw some of the pictures online. They had, for example, Elvis Presley records, just a lot of neat stuff, just pretty eclectic from years, you know, from, I think they said that their mom and dad had lived in that house for like 80 years.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, there was a lot of cool stuff. Well, it had been gone through, and they said half off day. So they did a neat thing. They let the family members come through the house first, and they picked out the items they wanted, and everything else just sell it off. I ended up getting 2 VCRs. One of them was fairly new. I paid $3 a piece for them.
Nice.
Wow.
So happy about that. And I did get some other records that they had that were pretty good records. But you know, you just never know going into this. I went downstairs, and they had like, it's like every one of these estate sales have glass everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Glass cups, glass mugs. Well, I looked underneath the table, and I thought, was this where they pulled it out of? And I looked, it was kind of pushed open about that far, and had all these Tupperware things in it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I flipped that lid up, and the whole thing was full of Tupperware. And I looked at the guy, and I said, is this somebody? He goes, no. He goes, we just hadn't set it out.
Yeah.
He said, I'll make you a great deal on it today. I said, shoot me a price, you know. He goes, $2. Sold. He goes, you think it's at 2? And I said, perfect. I've sold half of it already.
That's awesome. Nice.
Okay, Kevin.
It had the old salt shakers. I mean, it had all this stuff. My mom was a Tupperware dealer back 70s and 80s. So I know a lot about Tupperware anyway, because I used to have to help pack all this stuff. But some of the lids on it say Tupper. It's before they actually called it Tupperware.
Oh, wow.
It's Tupper. It's so old. So that's
pretty cool. We went into one, the lady had passed, and the house was like just a museum of just all these old like board games from the 60s and magazines from the 60s and 50s. And I mean, just tons of stuff. But we had gone late Sunday, and you would have thought that the estate sale had just opened, because there was just so much stuff.
Well, she used to be a high school art teacher.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like art things and just like really interesting pieces.
Right.
But like, again, like the prices are so high. It's like, are you trying, like we were talking driving, like, are they trying to sell stuff? Because a lot of the estate companies like get to keep what doesn't sell, as long, you know, and you're just always curious of the politics of running estate sales.
See, Johnny, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What is their main objective? What are they? I understand what family does, because they're trying just to move it and get rid of it. I understand that, but you know, I don't know what the estate sale people, their objectives are. You know?
Yeah, and I don't know.
It's interesting.
I don't know if they like agree with make agreements with the families, like, hey, we can get you at X at minimum, So they're really just trying to get to that minimum. I don't know. There's
Well, this
more research to be done.
this past Saturday, my wife and I, we'd stumbled upon another one of those mom and pop, and we went in there, and this lady, she was kind of in tears, and she said, "Well, this is my house." And we went to another room. I thought it must be her mother that lived here.
Yeah.
Come to find out, it was her daughter.
Oh, geez.
Oh my gosh.
And her mother was in there selling everything off. That was her daughter's.
Oh.
And she was only 36 years old.
Oh, geez.
She had a lot of health issues, and boy, I felt really bad for her. I mean, I was just, how do you do that, you know?
Yeah, well, we had talked about that a couple weeks ago too. Like, if it was like, I couldn't be there. Like, I couldn't. The way you watch people just go through these houses, and just like, if that's your house or your family's house, like, I don't want to see any of that.
Well, I had picked up a set of skates, the old vintage skates, and I walked up to her and I said, "What do you got on these?" And I could see her eyes. And it was her daughter's, and I just, I just felt bad.
Yeah.
I think she said it was like, "I'll take $2 for her." I think we gave her 10.
Yeah.
Just felt really sad and bad for her. But estate sales, they're quite the interesting thing. Like you said, Johnny, you can go in and it's either these companies running it, or it's a family member or something. I think every single one of them are all different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They make me a little nervous because I don't like running into that kind of situation where somebody's on the verge of tears watching their daughter stuff out the door. But anyway.
But we were at another one on Sunday, and there was some women's clothing that, Frizzy went to right away, and, the prices were high on them. And we were like, "Hey, it's Sunday. Are these half off, or are there any discounts?" And she goes, "No, that's the price, because if they don't sell, my niece will take them." We're like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, okay. So what happens to all this stuff? Do you really want to sell it or not?
Well, that almost goes like we talked about in the last video. You had some of your family members, they go online and they look at your store and they say, "Hey, I'd like to have that."
Yeah.
If you don't sell it in the next 10 days, but who knows? Well, that is all the time we have this evening on these Slim Flippers. I want to thank my friends Johnny and Lizzy for joining us tonight. The Frizzy'S finds. You guys are awesome, and we appreciate you stepping back in to speak with us a little bit longer here this evening.
Yeah, anytime. And let's plan the meetup.
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's get that together the next couple of weeks. Like I said, tomorrow's my last day for summer school, and I'll grab my wife.
Are you sure that you were the one teaching? You're not in summer school yourself, were you?
Well, that's a great question, Johnny. I learn things every day. I teach PE. Okay, so the kids have to have an hour of PE in summer school. And we were packing up all the stuff today, and I have these buckets that the kids stack up. And there was like 4 or 5 kids left, and I said, "Guys, we need to get these packed up because you're going to be leaving soon." They were all together putting the buckets on and all stuff. And this one boy looked up at me and he said, "Wow, Coach," he said, "this is like the kitchen at the Waffle House." I said, "You know what?" I said, "Hey, those people work very, very hard, and you're exactly right. I mean, it was super busy."
Getting you prepared for life.
I said that's a great analogy. So anyway, well, you guys have a great evening. Let's plan that.
Yes.
We'll talk for a few minutes off camera, and we'll try to get that planned. And maybe we can bring everybody a video of Frizzy finds and the Slim Flippers.
Oh, it's a beautiful. Yeah. I don't know if the internet's ready for that.
I don't know. I am up to 18 subscribers now. So when we talked first, I think I was up to 2. So.
See, look at that.
Go,
it's rising. Come on, folks. Come.
I mean, that means you'll cancel on us.
Well, listen, I know, pardon the pun here, I know where my bread and butter was when I started. Bread and butter. Well, y'all have a great evening and we'll talk soon. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Wes. We'll talk.
Have a good one.
Thank you.